All right, people. So I think, especially since Black History Month, we've had some amazing people bless us with their presence in this building. And today is absolutely no different. Today's guest is someone whose story takes real courage to tell, not because it's sensational, but because it requires vulnerability and honesty. She's a content creator, she's a filmmaker, she's a social media manager, a motivational speaker who has dedicated her life, her work to telling the kinds of stories many people are afraid to touch. Stories that sit at the crossroads of identity, trauma, faith, and truth. She was born a woman, transitioned to living as a man, and lived that reality for 6 years. During that time, she became a powerful advocate, a visible voice, and a public figure navigating questions that many people never have to face in the spotlight. I don't want to spoil the story, so I'm going to end it right there and ask you guys to welcome the amazing Stephanie and Thompson.
Warrior.
How are you?
Today I'm feeling nourished
I love that answer.
spiritually. Yeah, I feel nourished. God has been good. I've been tanking last week in my walk with Him. Just, going through the ebbs and flows of life kind of thing, but not being fully seeking Him with my whole heart. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a decision to repent today. That changes, And so, I had a really fulfilling time with the Lord this morning. I feel stable.
Okay, I like that. What does a fulfilling time with the Lord look like?
So I usually have quiet times with the Lord, probably between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. And that looks like praying for about an hour. Going outside, rain, shine, whatever the case may be, just literally pouring out my whole heart to God. And I'm not talking religious prayers, Lord. You know what I mean? I'm talking, God, this is how I feel. This is the truth. I need your help because I'm weak. Do you know what I mean? And then I'll go into the scriptures. I study His word, I observe it, and then I apply it to my life. I see what it's actually saying to me. Especially with the season that I'm in my life currently, and then I get a practical from that. So what can I put into practice for the day based on what I've learned, and so, that really helps me to grow in my life and to really thoroughly examine my heart to see where I'm at, whether it's in alignment with God's will or not, So after that, I basically carry on the rest of my day.
I like that. How do you kind of determine what scriptures to read?
It depends, Sometimes I go from theme to theme. Okay. Other times I'm like, God, show me what you need me to see. So I just let the Holy Spirit guide me. But I like themes. So my current theme at the minute is basically created to be a creator as well. So how can I create and glorify God with the things that I'm creating? But I need to go back to the creator, which is the source, to be inspired to create. So that's the theme that I'm going through at the minute. But I only started that today.
All right, cool. So like I said earlier, right, this is, your story is such a amazing, elaborate, complex story, right? With several chapters.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's best that we start at the beginning.
Yeah.
So what was your childhood like?
So I grew up in a Jamaican household.
Come on.
And I have a big family. So there's 7 of us all together. So every Sunday we'd have Sunday dinner as a family. You got your jerk chicken, your curry goat, and your rice, and your coleslaw, and you know what I mean. Every Sunday was like a Christmas for us.
Yeah.
And so I grew up with that unity, and coming from a 2-parent family household as well. I saw what it looks like to be, born of, parents who are married, which I know that doesn't happen a lot these days, and so I was really grateful for that. My childhood was it was joyful in the beginning, I was just a kid wanted to be a kid. And so, what I remember is, again, I'm from Wolverhampton, so it's a small town, small city, everyone knows everyone, And it wasn't until age, I think it was around 11, my dad was like, I'm ready to leave England. It's too cold. I want to go back to Jamaica. They'd already finished building a house over there anyway. And they were like, there's no point, just building a house and leaving it.
Yeah.
And so they were like, yep, let's go. And my mom was like, I don't want you to sell the house. I don't want you to sell the house because we might come back. You never know.
Yeah.
But dad was like, I'm done with England. What's up the for sale stick? Sell the yard. And then after Jamaica, I go. And in Jamaica, that's where things changed for me. So obviously Jamaica is very promiscuous. And it was normalized for example, 12-year-old to be with a 20-year-old. It's normal over there,
Wow.
And so exactly, immediately you think to yourself, hold on, isn't that pedophilia though? Do you know what I mean? And so, yeah, because it was promiscuous, normalized, it doesn't matter over there.
When you say,
Go
I
on.
was just gonna say, when you say normal, is it one of those things where it happens quite a lot but still frowned upon, or it's like it's normal, like?
So it is normal. It is normal because based on, how I was raised over there, like I saw all these things happening constantly. It's literally normalized. There's no other way to describe it other than it's normal, and so.
I guess that's not the law, and that's not. Do you know what I mean? Like I think like Jamaicans in Jamaica will probably say that is not normal. Do you know what I mean? But I guess that's what you saw.
Yeah, like in my heart of hearts, it is. I mean, now I'm like, that's not normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. We know it's not. But I don't know if people are just afraid to say something about it. But yeah, so I think around the age 12, I had a few friends, and they were male friends, but they were much older than me. But in my mind, I'm like, they're friends. And so little did I know that my friendships then would blossom into what we call grooming today.
Right.
I'm going to be your friend so you can trust me so that I can get what I want and then dip. And so that's what happened with me. Someone who I called my friend basically, took away my dignity one night. And on that same night, I had someone who was stalking me for a consecutive amount of like weeks actually. He was around 25 years old, who basically took me into the back of a church and also sexually abused me.
Oh, gosh.
And so that happened twice, like one night, two different people, different occasions, And so I was like, I cannot tell my parents. I can't. So from age 12, 13, like I carried that with me, but I buried it to the point where I was like, when you bury something, you're trying to forget about it. Yeah, it was that, right? And so I kind of pushed it to the back of my mind. Again, I'm like 12. I just want to play. I just want to be a child, but now this has been taken from me. And so I think from there onwards, there was just something that popped into my mind. I was like, I can't let this happen to any other woman, I can't let that happen. And so, anyway, long story short, my parents decided to come back to the UK. We never had a house to come back to, but luckily we was able to stay with one of my sisters. And so, throughout my childhood, as in like during the periods of high school, I was just trying to get an education, really. Kind of kept myself to myself, me and my friend at the time. I had a best friend, he was male, but we just it was just us two, And then when I left school, I noticed that I started to really develop feelings for women, Though I had noticed this from young, by the way, so I don't want to skip over that. I noticed it from young, and I feel like it amplified after the incident with the men, right?
Okay.
And so I started catfishing around 16. So I would basically pose as someone else online, as a man, basically. And then I would basically speak to other women during that time, especially in the night time, because obviously my voice was a little bit more high pitched at the time. And so I'd lower my voice to kind of pose as these men over the phone. Some of them would sus, but like I really tried my best to kind of cover it up. And I was doing that for probably around a year. And I got convicted. I was like, there's this person that I was falling in love with. I was like, I got to tell her the truth. You know, I can't keep lying to her about me being a man. You know, she needs to know because, like, I like her. Like, I really do. And so I remember telling her, she was shocked, complete shock horror. And then she forgave me and we continued the relationship, which was a shock to me because I didn't think that
Can I
would
ask a
even be a
question?
thing. Huh?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So with the person you fallen in love with, were you meeting in person as well before you told her, or was it just speaking on the phone?
So I'd meet her in person. I'd basically plan to meet up with her. But then I would go, she would go, but she wouldn't notice me, kind of thing. So it was, so the same thing that the one of the guys was doing to me in Jamaica, stalking me, is the same thing that I was doing to her. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like I became my perpetrators, if that makes sense, right? Without knowing, right? But this is based on reflection now. And so I got to the point where I was like, I gotta stop doing this. Like, you know, when something in the back of your mind, you know, this is wrong, Steph. Like, you need to stop this. So that's when I came clean. And so we kind of left that in the past. But then from there onwards, that's when I got more intrigued into the LGBT community, especially the Black LGBT community. Because for me, I was like, I didn't even know that there were other people who were Black and gay. For me, that was a white thing. You know, especially growing up in a Jamaican household, you're like, we don't do them things there. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is an abomination. Like, sodomites, literally. And so, yeah, like I think around 17, 18, I got deeper involved into like relationships with women. And I started like throwing all these house parties, inviting so many different people, you know, to my home, or putting on like club nights that specifically with Black LGBT people. So after that, that's when I started like meeting more women, and I'm like, wow. And then again, my dress sense and my style started to change a little bit more and more. So I started to dress more like a man. And then 19 years old, I met my first transgender friend. And so I saw how this person used to dress. And I was like, that's exactly who I am. Because I hated the word lesbian. Because for me, I was like, it doesn't sit right with me. I don't want to be known as a lesbian. Why? Because I was afraid of the judgment that I would receive. And so I was like, yeah, I'm trans. And so I'd start imitating this person. So this person used to basically bind their chest with like, whether that be a scarf or like a sports bra, or just wrap their chest tight. And I used to start doing the same thing so that I appear like I have a flat chest. I used to wear bucket caps and stuff, and like super baggy clothes, in order to kind of cover my feminine figure and things like that, just to disguise myself. And so, yeah, like for years after that, again, just getting involved in a lot of smoking, a lot of drinking, like literally just very, very promiscuous lifestyle as well. I thought I was literally like it, especially as a Black lesbian, you know. So pretty much had a charm that just get any woman that I really wanted at the time, as much as I thought I could anyway. But when I met my transgender friend, I started researching more and more about what it means to be trans. And so this was available to me on YouTube. I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos where people were transitioning, Black people, you know, and I was like, okay, so this is how you do it.
So sorry to cut you. So you was actually seeing a lot of Black people talking about being transgender.
Yeah, but not UK based.
Ah, okay.
US.
Okay.
How old was the transgender friend, and what kind of year? Sorry, what kind of year are we talking about?
The transgender friend was around my age at the time, around 19, I believe, 20, probably a little bit, yeah, around that age. So yeah, like again, for years and years, I'm doing research, and then still in and out of like different relationships with different women and stuff. But it was around 25 years old. That's when I was like, I remember my sister saying, I came to London at one point actually, and my sister was like, come to church with me. But I came to see my girlfriend who lived in London at the time. And she was like, yeah, come to church. And I was like, as a people pleaser, I'm like, all right, I'll come to church. I don't know what I'm going to church for, but I'll come. Standing at the back, and she's like, oh, there's a baptism going on. Let's get you baptized. And I was like, I did not come to get baptized, but yeah, went around the back. again, people pleaser. And I just remember putting on one white robe and then getting baptized in Ruach City Church, right? And so I came up out of that water thinking, oh, it's going to be a miracle. My homosexuality is going to be washed away. You know, I'm not going to feel this anymore. And I'm waiting for a feeling like I will never be attracted to women again. None of that happened. For a year, almost a year, I'm trying to do this Christian walk, but nothing's happening. You know, I'm still with my girlfriend at the time as well. But I'm like, I'm sure it's not wrong to be gay, you know? So I had all these different questions, but I didn't really have anyone to teach me the truth or show me biblically. And so I was like, all right, forget this. And I went into like a really deep, dark depression for a few months where I was literally locking myself away from the world. And that's when one day I just woke up and I was like, that's it, I'm going to transition. I don't care what anyone has to say. And immediately I changed my name to Stefan Zakaya via deed poll. And
Like immediately, as soon as you woke up and you had that realization, you was like, no, I need to confirm this, and
yeah,
you did it.
yeah, did it. Changed my name via deed poll, told some of my family at the time, and then I made a YouTube video. And I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I know I was born in the wrong body. I'm not supposed to be a woman. I'm supposed to be a man. And I need you guys to call me Stefan. I need you to affirm me. Right? And that video...
Sorry, what did your family say though when you told them and spoke to them? Especially your sister as well, because she took you to the church to be baptized.
Yeah.
What was her thoughts?
My sister, she was like, are you sure that this is what you want to do? She was really digging into my heart. She was like, Steph, you know what mom is going to say. Like, what's everyone else going to think? Like, do you know what I mean? She wasn't trying to be hard on me as in like, I think this is wrong and you're wrong. She was more like, this is a lifelong decision. Like, are you sure you want to go through with this? I was like, yep, I'm certain. I know that I was supposed to be born that way. Yeah. Almost trying to convince her, you know.
And can I ask you, when you came back from Jamaica, did your mum and dad come back as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so literally everyone that left came back.
Came back, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were all over here. I think a little bit later on, there was some of my family members who were refusing to call me Stefan. They were like, I will never. That's not who you are to me. You know, and that would hurt me at times. That would trigger me because I'm like, well, this is who I'm trying to be. You're trying to disrespect me, you know, by not approving of that kind of thing. And so, yeah, like, I think after a couple of months after that, that's when I started my testosterone, like hormone replacement therapy. I just went to the doctors and I was like, I know exactly what I need to do. I know what testosterone I need to take. Give it to me. This is it. And they were just like, okay.
Really?
There was no resistance. You didn't have to do therapy.
How old were
nothing.
you?
Huh?
How old were you?
I was around 25.
25.
So 25.
Wow.
Yeah, around 25. I think
And at that point, had you, and thank you for sharing what you were saying about your childhood and stuff, because I know how traumatic that can be. Had you spoken to anyone about that at this point before you made the decision?
I spoke to one person who I was staying with. I was staying at her house. I was depressed in her house. I had my own place, but she was almost like my comfort. She was a friend, but she was my rock in a way. And I woke up and I told her, and I said, this is what I'm doing. She's like, what are you going to do? And she's like, hold on, don't tell me. You're going to turn into a man. Bearing in mind, I've never had this conversation with her before. And I was like, how do you know? She's like, I don't know, just instincts. And I think you'll probably look better as a man anyway. And I was like, oh, confirmation. Okay. And so, yeah, that was probably one of the first, people that I told.
Sorry, what I meant was like what you went through in Jamaica.
Oh.
Had you spoken to anyone about that? No.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old were you when you spoke to someone about it?
When I first became a Christian.
Okay.
30. So I'm 35 now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 30.
I think I saw a YouTube video of you explaining that I think that came after therapy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Because it was a moment of unraveling. Like I forgot. I was one of those people who would say, "Yeah, I'm not a lesbian because I got abused." Like that's not my story. I completely like buried it. You know, completely. Yeah.
Do you think? I'm assuming your parents know now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you, what were their reactions?
Just for clarity, so before I transitioned, my dad passed.
Okay.
So it was just my mom, me and my mom kind of thing. Yeah. Did you say what were their thoughts?
Yeah. What was your mum's thoughts on like, because I would imagine, and obviously correct me if I'm wrong, that if your parents took you to Jamaica and this horrible thing happened and you've been living with that kind of like secret almost, do you know what I mean? So it's like a kind of like double shaming of it almost, kind of thing, that your mum would probably feel like quite helpless or, well, I don't know, you tell me.
Yeah, I completely get what you're saying. I think I didn't really realize my mom's pain until I actually found God. I can't even imagine what it must feel like to be in a position of a parent, to know that your child is now deciding that I'm going to be this gender and forcing you also to call them a name that you didn't give them in the beginning, because that was what happened. But I do remember her being super confused, especially when I did the BBC documentary where I went back to Jamaica to come out to my brother over there. But what I was trying to do was come out to the world so that I didn't have to be questioned about what I'm doing anymore. And so when I was getting ready for that documentary and ready to go to Jamaica, my mum was in the house with me. And she was like, you shouldn't do this. You need to not do this. You know that they will kill you if you go to Jamaica and do this. And I was like, no, Mom, I've got to do it. She's like, this, you know what I mean? She was obviously being a mom. She was afraid for my life more so than anything. And I was just like rebellious. No, I'm going to do this. And I did it. And I remembered it went viral at the time. And it came back to her, and one of my cousins, I think it was, in America said, your daughter's dead.
Wow.
She got a phone call. She said, your daughter, and the person said, your daughter is dead. And she's calling me frantic. And I was like, Mom, what's wrong? She's like, they say you're dead. I was like, Mom, I'm alive. But I think what they meant was, Stephanie's dead. You know, and I think in that moment, I was just like annoyed. I'm like, Mom, don't take it literally. I'm here. I'm still here. But I didn't get it until much reflection later on. So I think for her, like something really shifted, but I don't exactly know how she felt until I got baptized. Yeah.
How did that BBC documentary even come about?
I did.
How did the BBC documentary come about? So, like, did they approach you? Did they, like, how did they know you even existed, for example? Like, to even approach you, to even make it a thing?
Yes. So I was a YouTuber, basically. I used to do a lot of, I used to document my journey on YouTube. And that's how they picked me up. So I'd be on the radio stations, you know, documentaries, and I'd go to all these different events as well, like just talking about my story pretty much here, there, everywhere. Birmingham, London, and that's how it, that's how it came about.
I wanted to ask you about the time where I guess you was finding, well, I don't want to put words into your mouth, but you was finding, it seemed like comfort being amongst other people, part of the LGBTQ community, black people. Like, do you feel as though you was trying to find something? Were you running away from something or trying to find something, if that makes sense?
That's a really good question. So what I do know now is trauma stores itself in the body, right? And it comes out in many different ways. And so for most of my life, I was trying to run away from the trauma that was stored in my body since childhood, right? I was trying to run away from the identity of being a woman. Why? Because I was afraid.
Yeah.
I was afraid of men in my heart of hearts. And I was like, okay, in order to protect myself, I need to become one. And so transgenderism was almost like a coat. It was a covering.
Mm.
It was a straitjacket, but it was a covering,
Mm.
you know. And so I knew that if I became a man, I didn't have to fear men anymore, you know. But what was developing was a deep hatred towards men.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. And so I think as I was going through the transition, I was also trying to shed these labels off me. So I remember when I was young, I'd go through all these different phases where I call myself different names. So I went from, my nickname was Tizzle back in the day. And then I changed it to Tyzel. Then I changed it to Zoriel. Then I changed it to Zakiah. Then, 25 years old, Stefan Zakiah came about. And so I'm going through all these different name changes, which represent different chapters of my life, not realizing how much I'm trying to shed myself of that identity that carried all that pain, all that trauma, all that torment. And so I get to a point now where, again, still transitioning, I remember making a video that saying that my transition's now over because I'd already had my surgeries. I'd had mastectomy, which is the removal of the breast. I had hysterectomy, which is removal of the womb. And
Wait, what? What?
hysterectomy,
You had all the surgeries.
not all of
The
them.
all,
So
okay.
yeah, so
Right. So why did you have to have a hysterectomy? Because that seems quite.
so the reason why is because based on research, I found out the longer I take testosterone, my womb would become cancerous, and so I was like, I don't want cancer.
Okay.
And plus, I thought I'd never want children anyway. So I was like, well, no point. What's the point of it being there, you know? And then obviously I wanted the final surgery, which was to basically get a penis engrafted. But I'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, so I was like, this transition's over.
Sorry, but wait. So did the doctors suggest that for you, or did you go in saying this is what I want? The hysterectomy.
So yeah, when you're transitioning, that's what you're presented with, surgeries. So to fit in more with like the male society and to look more like a male or masculine appearing for some transgender people, you go through those different surgeries. So top, bottom surgery, and yeah, basically as because the testosterone masculinizes you. But not every transgender person basically wants those surgeries. But the choice is there. And it's also on the NHS, which means it's completely free. You know,
And did you have because it sounds like you had a sense of urgency. with this.
absolutely.
What was driving that?
It was the misplacement in society. And so I'll give you an example. If I wanted to go to the beach, I can't just take off my top. I'd need to bind, and that became painful because I'd bind it for years. So constant bruises around my chest and everything, and I was like, I need to get rid of these, you know. And so the sense of urgency derived from wanting to look like a man immediately. I can want it now, you know, and that's where it came from. And then obviously I wanted to feel comfortable in the bedroom with women as well. And so I didn't feel comfortable within my skin. If I was, you know, in the bedroom, I would have to cover up kind of thing. And so I'm like, I want to be free, get rid of them and get rid of everything because I'm going to go for the lower surgery as well, you know. So yeah, there was that desperation.
And you didn't have to pay for it because it was NHS.
Yeah, no.
Did you have was that around the time? So all the testosterone, the hormones, they were free as well.
Yeah, so all the surgeries are free, yeah.
Okay.
Or surgeries as well.
Testosterone as well.
The testosterone, I started paying for it privately at first.
Okay.
But then I moved on to NHS, so I started getting therapy at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you mind talking about, I guess, the experience with hormone therapy? Like in terms of, because I remember watching one of your videos. I believe you had the gel at first, then there was like the
Yeah.
injections, and like what's the difference? And yeah, like what was the whole experience like? The effects as well.
Yeah. Oh man, if I tell you guys the effect, it was wild. I say wild because okay, I started with testosterone gel, which I'd apply to my shoulders daily,
Okay.
right? And then I moved on to injections. So I take a shot every 2 weeks of this injection called Sustanon 250 in my legs. And the minute I got that shot, it was like a drug for me. You know, it was like one shot of this, I feel like a man. It was almost like there was this alter ego building up in me as I'm taking it every single 2 weeks. Then I was like, I don't want to be injecting myself every 2 weeks. And so I moved on to another injection called Libido, which is what a lot of bodybuilders use also.
Okay.
And that was just like a 12-week shot. So it was a bigger injection, but every 12 weeks. And so,
So did you do it yourself, or do you have to go somewhere to be?
yeah, I wasn't brave enough to do it myself. I'd go to the doctor and do it, yeah. Yeah, and so what I would notice over the course of, the months is just lots of changes within my face. I started growing a beard. My figure was completely gone. Like I was just being masculinized basically. But what was intense for me was the fact that I was going through a second puberty. I was going through the male puberty. And so during the stages of where a man's going through puberty, a boy is going through puberty, his libido is high.
Yeah.
And so I was 25, 26, but there was a 13-year-old inside of me because of that second puberty, and so therefore I had the mind of a teenager.
Can you explain what you mean by that? Because, yeah, it could mean so many different things. So,
Yeah.
please explain it.
Yeah, sure, yeah. So I'd want to do what teenagers do. So I wasn't adult anymore, I was a child, which means like I don't know how to control myself. I have to release somewhere, basically. It just became so like uncontrollable for me. And I just remember I had this feeling of just wanted to go party. I just wanted to be around like people, basically, partying constantly. Like that's where I was at. And then psychologically, yes, I'm changing on the outside, and people are recognizing me as a black man. That's a whole different story. Man, anyway, part that for a minute. I'm now being recognized as a man and as a black man in society, but psychologically, there's a shift happening. And so I'm starting to think more like a man. But at the same time, again, social influences, I'm watching men. I'm observing how they move, how they talk, how they move to a girl. Like, I'm taking on all of that, the persona of a man. And then because something was shifting psychologically, if someone was to misgender me at the time, I would flip out. So my anger was just
Right.
uncontrollable as well. So emotions were just like, not everywhere, but bottled up and ready to snap at any time. To the point where I would, even the relationships I was in, they were quite volatile, because of all that was stored in me. And I remember one of my ex-girlfriends said, like, every time I come down to see you, you're just different. Because she was with me throughout the transition. So she's seeing someone who she dated as who looked like a woman is now changing into a man every time she saw me. She's like, I'm scared. Do you know what I mean? And I can imagine, because you're like, wait there, you don't even look like the person I saw 2 months ago. But here you are now. I don't know how to take this. So
Was she supportive as well? Like, was she supportive of this transition, or was you just were you doing it anyway? If that makes sense.
she was supportive of me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she agreed with the transition though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But she was there for me.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't last too long,
Oh.
but she was there for me. I felt that emotional support.
That's good. Obviously during this time, again, I was watching one of your videos, and I think it was actually a video when you was actually in the moment, as opposed to you reflecting. I can't remember. You may have to correct me, but you spoke about well, you kind of spoke about it now about being misgendered and stuff, and at the time there was like so much inner torment and stuff because you're trying to navigate life. You're wondering, like, there's just so many different triggers. So what was that kind of like? So for example, going to the toilet and trying to figure out, okay, which one am I meant to be in, and that triggering you, and you know what I mean, the anxiety, the depression. What was that like on a day to day?
Yeah, that was stressful because, say for example, I want to use the public restrooms. I'm battling between whether I should go into the male toilets or go into the female toilets because I'm like still socially transitioning, and so going into the female toilets, it's like, what are you doing here? You're a man.
Yeah.
Going into the male toilets, I can tell you're a woman. So I would oftentimes try and find the disabled toilets, or gender neutral per se. And so even going into the male toilets, at one point, I became a little bit more confident in doing that. But the problem for me was, okay, so there's a urinal and there's a cubicle. We know what the urinal's for, we know what the cubicle's for. And so my paranoia would be, that someone's going to find me out.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. What if I get beat up in here? I can't defend myself because really I'm a girl. Do you know what I mean? And so all these different thoughts that would constantly go through my mind, which would cause like a lot of paranoia. A lot of paranoia and like just defensiveness in a way. And so, that was difficult. And so what I would do is I'd get different devices. So devices would mean I'd get, for example, a stand to pee device, which enables me to pee standing up, right?
Wow.
There's a lot available out there.
What?
I didn't even know that was a thing. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just something that would you can catch your pee and you pee like a man, basically. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Think
No, but
think
is it-
like a man, pee like a man.
Is it I'm guessing it's quite messy, no? Or potentially could be quite messy.
Say that again.
Secure, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking.
is
I'm
it
trying,
like-
to, trying to find the pictures. Hold on.
You're trying to find a
Yeah,
picture.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Is it like, I guess it'll catch, but then there'll be like a tube, then obviously,
Yeah, a
Right.
tube that looks like a
yeah.
Right.
penis.
We would only, again, maybe it's a stupid question, but you'd only use it when you want to go to the toilet. It's not like you just have it on 24/7.
Yeah. When you go to the toilet, it wasn't good, and it was. When I think about it now, it was unhygienic. Yeah,
Right. Okay,
like
yeah.
constant taking it off, washing it, and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But then there's obviously other devices as well. For example, you're wearing joggers, you want to bulge,
Okay.
and so I'd buy, devices such as packers, something you pack your boxes with,
Right.
so it appears like you have a bulge.
Mm-hmm.
So these are little small things that I'd get to basically, integrate as a man more into society.
And at the time, did you think those things were helping you at the time? Did it make you feel more comfortable? Did you feel like I don't know whether normalised is the word, but did it put you at ease, I guess?
Yeah. Momentarily. Yeah, momentarily. Okay. So, it would help during the moment out, but then it's still, there's a lot of inner turmoil because it's like, you'll never be a real man. You have to get all these things to be a man. You're not a man. You know what I mean? And that's the fight I was going through internally and psychologically. Because my thing wasn't just to transition and be a transgender man. My thing was to transition and be a man.
Yeah.
That's it. Because I was trying to shed myself of all these labels. There's a lot of self-hate that was happening at the time. And so, these devices, even the sexual devices, as you already know, it was just uncomfortable, just deeply uncomfortable and just not real, not authentic. It was, what is going on, then that would cause me to question what the other person is thinking,
Right.
like my partners, like. So now that I'm trans, what do you label yourself as? Because I'm like expecting them for them to say like straight, because I'm like, I don't want to be with any lesbians.
Yeah.
I want to date straight women because I'm a man now. And so you can see that I'm trying to rip myself away from the LGBT community, and so I started looking in that direction towards, straight women.
That would have definitely caused some like contention in your relationships, because if that's because obviously you can't control how they see themselves,
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people did question themselves around me. It's something that, so the Bible says that we shouldn't regret anything because God uses everything for His good, for good, sorry. But if I was to regret something, it would be, causing trauma for so many women
Yeah.
because of the deceit that I was, wrapped in. So
I guess
yeah,
that's what you was fighting against. That's what you didn't want to do. From when you was a child, you didn't want to cause. You wanted to be the man,
To protect.
not to
Protect
cause.
them, yeah. But you became.
Yeah.
You said
Thing
it
that
yourself
you
earlier.
hated,
You
right?
became, You became.
Yeah.
Straight.
100%. I'm glad that you guys kind of clocked onto that today, because like I wanted to protect women, but then I just became a perpetrators.
What about your transgender friends? What were you going through this journey together, and what were their thoughts? What kind of conversations did you have? Did you have more transgender men friends as you went through the process as well?
Yeah, there was a whole community of us, like whole community, and so we was we would be there for one another. We would, whether we're going through surgery, we'd ask each other questions, give advice, and party and girls, literally. That was the lifestyle. But yeah, it was. I remember being a part of this WhatsApp group where it was just black trans men. Everybody was black, whether you're from the US, from the UK, Jamaica, and because of that documentary as well that I did when I went to the BBC, it just, that was crazy, because afterwards, it's like I couldn't step out my house without someone saying, "Oh my gosh, I know you. You're from that documentary." And so it's almost like there was an influence that grew from that. I had people in my DMs constantly, "Steph, how do I transition?
Yeah.
What do I say to the doctors? Where do I go?" And so I'm pointing people into all these different directions to get the help they need to transition. And it's like how I see it now. Yes, now I'm Christ's ambassador, but back then I was an ambassador for Satan. That's how I see it.
Why?
Because it's like influencing someone to do the wrong thing. It's like me saying, you know what? Yeah, like it's if I'm to go into the layers of it, like I can simplify it. Like, oh yeah, it's okay to rape this person. Bob's your uncle. Do your thing. It's okay to do the thing that is going to damage that person later on. I'm influencing people to cut their breasts out, to take their womb out, to have a penis and close up their vagina. That doesn't sound right to me. That don't sound like God's work, because God designed us in a specific way, right? And a lot of the times, obviously, things happen, trauma, and then all of these kinds of things that then, turn into something else later on, And so, yeah.
So, but I can understand why you're saying that. I feel like I understand why you're saying, or you've come to that space. And I do want to be careful what I'm saying, because it's about belief. I do understand that. But if you're saying that the actions that you took at that time to influence other people are because of Satan, it kind of is like saying that what happened to you was because of that. Like, and what happened to you wasn't your fault. You didn't cause that to happen to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you've only made decisions and choices based on your experience.
Yeah, totally.
So that's not I would.
It wasn't
I
intentional.
wouldn't. Yeah, exactly. Kind of thing. Put it under the class of Satan
Mm.
because you only know what you know
Mm-hmm.
through your experiences and your how you've shown up in the world and the things that happen to you. So it is a bit. I guess like sitting here, it's a bit sad that you think that.
And I guess I get what you're saying. I see where you're coming from, but how I think about it is that each and every one of us have a choice
Mm.
in the matter. The men who raped me, they had a choice. They didn't have to, but they chose to do it. You know, and we wouldn't advocate for such a thing. We never advocate for such a thing.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
You know, immediately we're like, I'm dismissing that. Like, but then the one thing that we don't do as a society is take responsibility. And that's the problem. Because yes, though trauma happened, but every single decision I made in my life was my choice.
Mm.
After that, I was that young. I didn't know. Like I couldn't regulate my emotions or even have the I didn't have the capacity to think at that level in the way that I'm thinking now at that level. You know, can I blame everything on my trauma? I'm not gonna do that because there's a big part of me that's like, actually, I have to take responsibility for the hurt and the pain that I've also caused people. Because guess what? Sin is a perpetual cycle that needs to be broken, right? And so there's only one thing that can break that. That's God.
Mm.
And so that's why I'm like, yeah, like when we come to God, we come face to face with the truth. We come face to face with ourselves, come face to face with our own realities. And it's like, you know what? Yes, I did lie to that person. Yes, I did smoke and influence that person to smoke as well. Yes, I'm the one who, of course, I've got to take responsibility. Now, that necessarily would make me feel guilty because I'm like, did I just do all of that? That's crazy, which is why there is a need for forgiveness outside of ourselves. We can't bear it. I can't sit here with you now and say, oh yeah, I'm taking responsibility without the freedom of forgiveness. It's because I've experienced that freedom. I'm able to say this freely, you know? And so, yeah, I'm just coming from a place of responsibility because at the end of the day, I definitely owe an apology to the people that I've hurt, 100%. And I'm willing to do that. And I've been doing that too, you know, because God is purifying my heart in this area. So, yeah, like, of course, like, we go against the things that people do that are wrong or damaging or harmful to themselves. And that's the place I'm coming from. That makes sense.
Bear in mind, at any point, Steph, if it is that you feel uncomfortable to continue or you need a break, just let us know, yeah? Did you have anybody come back to you in your latter years blaming you for the path in which it is that you instructed them to go down?
That's a really good question. I didn't have anyone come to me and blame me for anything, but I did have encounters with people that I have hurt and knew that I hurt them, where I was able to cultivate a room of, yeah, like just apologies, like deep, real, honest conversations where, you know, there was forgiveness. So yeah, I've had quite a few of those kind of conversations with people from my past. And it's been more a case of, you know, man, I'm seeing what God is doing in your life. Like, I know that we had our head bumps, but just like, wow, like, can you help me? You know, and we've been able to reconcile because of that. So yeah, I think it's not by my own doing at all. But it's only by the power of God. And I don't want to dismiss that. Can't. Because I can't take any credit for it. Because the past I come from is mad. Like, I'm just giving you guys like a summary in a way.
Level, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah.
So
That's-
no one felt kind of betrayed at all? Duped? Tricked? Seeing as you were ambassador and then you just switched it up?
I had one person that I was in contact with earlier this year, actually. he was inspired and also influenced by my transitional decision to transition. And they, after seeing my story, they were like, actually, you know, I'm going on this journey as well, Steph, now. I'm detransitioning, you know, so that's a positive thing as well,
yeah,
you know. Yeah.
Because funny enough, I was gonna even ask you that same question because I think one of your earliest videos that I shared with the guys was a video that you were in the video with somebody else. I don't want to misgender the person, but the light skinned person. Like, are you still friends with that person? Like, what's the relationship with that person and other people that I guess you would have been close with as you was on that journey?
Yeah, I think I remember. I know who you're talking about. I wouldn't say I'm friends with them, but we're civil.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's simply because of the direction I'm going in my life now. I realized, you know, the closer you get to God, the more people start to fall away from you, kind of thing. You know. So though I can reach out to this person, we can have a civil conversation. We're not friends like that anymore. You know. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a question because
So before you,
oh yeah, go on.
has anyone that were maybe your transgender friends, have any of them been like, I do not agree with what you're doing right now, or your message?
The one that we just spoke about. Yeah, that person was like, "Man, I'm just waiting for you to return back to being a man."
Really?
Yeah, like literally on the phone to be like, "I'm just waiting, just waiting." Like, you'll always be Stefan to me. I'm like, no,
Okay.
no, but yeah,
And-
that was one person. Yeah.
Yeah. And then everybody else, are they quite like, do they understand where you're coming from? Do they recognize where you're at as struggles or decisions they've had to go through themselves?
You know what? If I'm honest with you, there's a lot of people that haven't spoken to me.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't really know where everyone's mind's at. But I'll see people here and there, and they'll be like, "I'm watching your YouTube channel, you know, and stuff. Like, don't stop doing what you're doing."
Right.
Yeah. And so that, for me, is like, though they're silent, like, when I, you know, encounter them, they're like, I'm like, oh, okay. Wow, I didn't even know you're still about it. You're still watching my channel, you know? Yeah, so that also encourages me to know that, okay, this is what I'm doing. What I'm doing anyway was never for the people. It was for me. And obviously, when I get into it a little bit more, you'll see why I needed to get out of this. Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, what's that going?
One thing that is quite tough to hear, because obviously not being in that community, we kind of just hear it from a stats perspective sometimes, right? Do you know what I mean? So there's a common kind of like theme that like people in the transgender community have a higher suicide rate.
A higher.
Suicide rate.
Oh, yeah.
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 And I think I have wondered, out of the obvious, why is that the case? And I wondered whether you going through your journey was to save yourself from that. In a way, I wonder.
Yeah. It did. Because I reached a breaking point in my journey, and that breaking point was I need to take my life. What's the point of me being here? It's like I lost a sense of purpose. So I do remember, like, one night, I'll take it from the top, just before lockdown. I had started to kind of achieve a certain level of success in my life. So now that I shed that identity of being transgender, I just wanted to be Stefan the filmmaker, as in, like, you just know me as that. You know, kind of develop my own production studio, got a team together, you know, came into quite a bit of money, and all that good stuff, right? I remember that year again, we were just popping bottles and stuff like that, but we were settling into this newfound business, right? And then a couple of months into it, I met someone who asked me this question, do you believe in God? And I was like, well, yeah. Again, growing up in a Christian background, and I was into New Age spirituality at the time as well. I was like, yeah, I do believe in God. And I feel like that was a very pivotal moment in my life, because God was like, all right, I'm going to put that to the test. And so that year, yes, I reached at the peak of success in my life at the time, but then everything started to strip away from me. So, for example, I could no longer run my business, had no more money. So we had to close down that studio, right? I'd lost my ex at the time, as in like, she was like, I'm not trying to be with you for the rest of my life. Like, and then me and my best friend would get into fights as well. So everything that was happening was just happening like rapidly, real quick. I'm losing everything. I even became homeless at the time also. So I've lost my house. I'm sleeping at McDonald's. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, things are being stripped away from me. And so that was, I remember at one point actually being in the office before we closed it down. My best friend at the time, who is a cisgendered male, someone who was born male and chooses to remain that way, he was like, yeah, so obviously I have to fix myself in my boxes like this. And I remember being in that conversation, I was like, I can't relate. I'm not a part of this conversation right now. So immediately I felt ostracized. And that is when those thoughts started to run through my mind. You will never be a real man. You'll never be constant on repeat. And then I think it was that night where I was like, I'm gonna drown myself. And so I remember walking myself to a reservoir, and I didn't get there, but like the temptation was to jump in, cut my life off completely. Right? Well, things turned around. I went to the hospital and realized I was declining mentally.
Right.
I was declining mentally. And so, remember, everything got stripped away from me. So now I'm face to face with the reality of my identity. It was that bad. My sister, the one who I came out to first, was like, she was the one who was saying, "You sure you want to do this?" I think my friends called her at the time, and she was crying down the phone. She said, "Steph, what is going on? You're going to come to Wolverhampton and you're going to stay with me until you get well." And so I left Birmingham and I went straight to Wolves, and she took care of me. And it's like I'd lost my mind and I was coming back to my senses in a way. And that's when I was like, something needs to change. But I started questioning everything, and after questioning everything, I remember I started working as a personal trainer, Pure Gym, just to kind of get myself back on my feet. And I remembered leaving my workplace one day, and I was complaining about everything. I was like, why can't I ever get it right? Why can't I ever be successful? I just want to be, And then all of a sudden I turn the corner, I see a woman walking in the road, and I see a car go smack.
What?
Completely knocked this woman over. Jeez. And now she's lying in a pool of blood, like head split, everything. So I ran over to her, and I put her into the recovery position because she was choking on her blood. And then I knelt there, and I was just trying to speak some kind of life into her, because I could see that this life force energy was going in and coming out, going out and coming in. And then the guy that knocked her over jumped out of his car, oh my gosh, frantic. And in that moment, there was an epiphany that I had. And it was like, hang on, wait there. This woman right now is fighting for her life. And then if this woman dies, this man's going to prison life. I'm the only one in this situation that has life. And I was like, whoa, this is different. And it was in that moment where, obviously, ambulance came, yada, yada, yada. I took my details. I went home. It was that moment where I was like, okay, there has to be a God. I need to know my purpose. So I was like, God, show me if I could be transgender and worship you. Because what I recognized was when I was in my workplace complaining about everything on the phone to my friend, I wasn't grateful for anything. And what God showed me in that moment is that I need to be grateful for the life that He's given me. That alone first, right? And so, yeah, I prayed that prayer. It's the same night that LeBron James, was it LeBron that died?
Kobe.
Kobe Bryant, sorry. Kobe Bryant that died with the kids in the plane that same night. And then that's when everything changed. So when I asked God that question, He didn't fail to answer. Every single sign that He was showing me is like, no, you can't be transgender and worship me. That's not who I'm created to be.
Can I ask a question? Sorry, what signs did He show you to confirm that for you?
Say that again, sorry.
What signs? You said that you asked God the question and then God showed you signs that no. So I'm asking, what signs did He
What
show you to
signs?
confirm to you that you couldn't be transgender and follow Him?
Yeah, so I remember seeing this YouTube video of this girl who had detransitioned for the Lord. That was one of them. I was sick to my stomach after seeing that because I was like, this can't be the reality. I was like, nah, there's got to be another way out of this. Of course it can be trans, come on, you know? So yeah, that was one of the signs. Another one of the signs was the same guy that I met the year before I lost everything. I started studying the Bible with him because what I recognized was, sorry, let me just pull it back a little bit. I met this other guy who told me to read the book of Romans. And I was like, I don't even know what Romans is. It's like, just download the Bible and read the book of Romans. I'm like, okay. So he's like, it's sick. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, not knowing that Romans is a hard book about being homosexual. I'm just like, whoa. I didn't read it at the time, but he inspired me to download the Bible and start reading. And so I read Matthew, and that tore me to shreds. And I think if it wasn't for that guy talking to me about the Bible and his life, I wouldn't actually be seeking God either. And so just to kind of go back to what you were sharing, it was just coming to that realization that when I was doing the Bible studies with the other guy, I'm literally looking for, like, basically my parallel in the Bible. Is there anyone who's trans in the Bible that I can relate to? You know, and not being able to find that. And I was like, so, okay, if trans don't exist in the Bible, then, you know, but it's like the trans was a cover up for what I was really feeling because I was attracted to women, you know, and I wanted to live that lifestyle as someone who dated women freely without being judged. And so, yeah, obviously about being, you know, same-sex relationships, like that's in the Bible, but I didn't want that. I just wanted someone to show me the truth about my purpose and whether I can be trans. And so I didn't see that, and that was another one. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
So from there, what was the next step? Because obviously you've had the realization that God isn't through with you, right? He's giving you a chance. He's letting you know, at least be grateful for the life that's, because if you're alive, there's always hope. What was the next step? Like, was it therapy? Was it going to seek a pastor? Was it going to your family?
So I think just to kind of like go back to the Bible studies segment. So yeah, after studying the Bible, the guy that I was studying the Bible with, I came to find out that he was the evangelist of a church in Birmingham.
Okay.
And he didn't know that I was trans. So he thought I'm studying with a man.
Yeah.
You know, and he shared everything with me in terms of his life, what he's been through, even him being involved in homosexuality at one point, and all of that kind of stuff. And I was sitting there like, I don't think I can tell him the truth yet, you know. And then I remembered after going through the series of studies, they were like, oh yeah, like, you know, ready for baptism? Like the studies are done, and I'm like, I don't know, like, what, you know, what's there to, you know, hold back on? I was like, okay, go ahead. Let's do it. Let's do the baptism. But I was wrestling because I knew that there was something inside of me saying, tell the truth.
Yeah.
Right. And I remembered meeting up with him the next day, which was supposed to be my baptism day. And I literally sat him down. I was like, look, I'm trans. And he was like, what do you mean trans? Like, you transitioned into a woman? I was like, no, I'm a woman. And he was like, whoa, what do you mean? And then I was like, I've never seen it in the Bible. And he was like, neither have I. And so, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get some advice. And I respected him for that. Because he didn't try to pose as someone who knew it all as a pastor. He didn't try to condemn me at that point. He was just like, I need to seek advice. And plus, he was a young evangelist as well. And so when he sought advice, I remember him inviting me to a karaoke night. And then he pulled me into the kitchen. He was like, yeah, we're going to take it back to the beginning. God created Adam and Eve. And I was like, this is the last thing that I wanted to hear. Because it's all I've been hearing, you know. And in that moment, that's when I did a Jonah. I don't know, you guys know about Jonah who ran away, got swallowed by the fish. Yeah, I did a Jonah. I ran away for 3 days, and then lockdown happened immediately. So it's like God locked me down in my house. I couldn't go anywhere, but I had no choice but to face myself and face the truth. And so, yeah, I just remembered one dream that I had during that period. And the dream was me walking up some creaky stairs of a haunted house with some friends behind me. Now, I don't know what friends they were. I just knew that they must have been from the trans community because I heard their voice. It was recognizable. And then I walked in and there was something at the corner of the room that had this weird voice. And then all of a sudden, I see a crack through a window and I'm staring at the light through that window. I'm standing by that crack of the window, and then this energy that was there was like, I'm going to open this wardrobe because there was a closet there. The minute that this person opened up the closet, it's like a corpse fell out. I didn't see it, but I felt what was happening in the room, and then laid the corpse on the sofa behind me. I'm not looking. I know what's happening, but I'm staring at the light. And then when this corpse came out, there was a stench that came with the corpse. And I woke up immediately. I woke up to the same stench in my nostrils. And I'm looking around. I lived in a studio apartment at the time. My bins are empty. There's nothing in my room that smells. But then immediately I went back into that sleep. And then the woman, or whatever energy it was like, I've been living with her for years, locked up. And I was like, that can't be me. That cannot be me. No way. Nah. I'm Stefan, you know. But for some reason, my eyes was fixed on that light. And when I woke up, I realized that the woman that was locked in the closet was me. It was Stephanie. And what God was doing was basically releasing me from that closet. Because when I was trying to come out, I was trying to come out as something else.
Yeah.
And so I'd locked away Stephanie in that closet for so many years because I didn't want to deal with what I'd gone through. And so I remember those 3 days, I started studying the Bible again with the women this time in the church. Because it's one thing to study with men. As a woman, as a woman, a man doesn't know how to even, like, do you know what I mean, speak to a woman like that, or know the nitty-gritty details of a woman to kind of draw out her heart. So when I was studying with the men, it was more head knowledge. But then when I studied with the women, that was heart transformation. And so went through these studies and I was like, wait there, but I believe that I've been a man this whole time. How can you tell me any different? You know, and that's when I realized that there's a difference between truth and emotions.
Yep.
Though I felt like a man, doesn't make it a reality. Because my biological makeup says this. That's the fact. I can't, you know what I mean? I can't change that. And so, yeah, like I remembered going through the studies again, and then God just convicted my heart. And I remember just one day waking up crying, not tears of sorrow, but tears of joy. It was like an inner transformation just happened. And I was like, I need to get baptized. Like, this is the must. And I remember in my room, I was just like, God, I don't care if I never look like a woman again. I just want to worship you. And you know what I really appreciated about that moment as well is that there was no one to influence it. No one. It was just me and God. And a singular decision that I made changed my life because I wanted to be free from the pain, the hurt, the trauma, everything that I'd ever experienced. And it's like, whatever I'm doing is not working clearly, but I need freedom. So, yeah.
Yeah, firstly, thank you very much for sharing everything, man. Like, everything you're saying is so powerful, man. I can see from the chat everyone's relating to what you're saying in terms of that transformation. You know what I'm saying, and just appreciating how honest you are with it. So thank you for that. If you don't mind, I did want to go back just a tiny bit because of what you said about, I guess, how basically what I'm trying to relate to everybody is how real this was, and I can tell obviously everyone knows that already from listening to what you're saying. And as I'm about to ask the next question, but if you don't mind, can you put up a couple of videos that I put in the topic of the day? Because I know people are hearing it, right? But I think people need to see as well. You know what I'm saying? So people can actually see that you wasn't cosplaying in the sense of, oh, I think I want to be trans. No, you did everything to actually go through that process. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, the cutting off the breasts and everything to the point that obviously that pastor was actually thinking, no, you are actually a man. You know what I'm saying? When you look back and you see yourself like in these pictures and stuff, what goes through your mind?
It reminds me of just darkness. It reminds me of my depression. You know, it reminds me of, the lifestyle I used to live, but how trapped I was, how paranoid I was, how I was trying to be something that I'm not. It was exhausting. And I say exhausting because it's like, I don't know if you try to be something that you're not, but it's tiring trying to convince someone that you're one thing, you know, and then you're getting like, oh no, you're not.
Yeah.
I felt like I was fighting my whole life. Compared to now, I'm like, I don't need to fight to prove myself, you know, because I am who I am. So yeah, that's what that reminds me. And it shows me the extremes of what I can go to. Because if I could go to an extreme of like cutting off my breasts, I was vegan at the time as well.
Big up vegan.
Yeah.
Was.
She's a what?
I'll deliver you from that as well. Amen. Amen.
Yeah, I was vegan at the time. Constantly in the gym, trying to make sure that I look leng, basically. But if you look at my eyes, it's dark. My face is evident that I was sad. Very evident. Like, there's no life in that person.
Okay, it's easy to see this now. At the time when you were creating content, is this what you were presenting to people? Did you even feel this the way you're now articulating that you
That was
felt?
dark, yeah.
Were you lying on stream? Were you lying to yourself? Were you lying to everybody else? Or were you really feeling good and expressing that you felt good on stream?
Wow. A question? Good question. I was trying to convince myself for sure. I was lying to myself. But at the time, I was like, what a great picture. I was like, I've worked for this body. Looks great. No one can tell. That's literally what I thought. I was like, man, you cannot tell from this picture. You can't see my scars. Like, you just, you know what I mean? And I was like, okay, this is definitely a thirst trap as well. But I knew that something was wrong all along. I couldn't shake that feeling because these little things, such as surgery, was like momentary relief.
Yeah.
But it was only for a time. It was all temporary. So though I got my chest done, I'm like, oh my gosh, it looks so good. It doesn't look like crazy. Like, it looks real. It was just for a moment in time. But then I'd wake up and face those scars daily. And then I'm like, I had breasts here, you know.
Did you kind of, because it sounds like you had a sense of accomplishment, like looking at the image and stuff, but did you mourn your female like shape physicality? Did you go through that process of mourning it?
Yeah, I agree, there was a sense of accomplishment for sure. I can't deny that. I think because it was all physical, it's like what I could see, that to me was my success.
Right.
You know, visually, I'm like, I look good. You know, I look great. I pass. That's what we would say. Like, I pass in society as a man, or I pass as a woman. I'm passing. You couldn't tell.
Mm.
You know, you couldn't tell unless you're around me long enough to see how I behave.
Mm.
You know, because there's a lot of people that were like, your hands are feminine, Steph. I'm like, no, they're not. How dare you? You're not seeing the veins, bro. But yeah, they were like, yeah, it's still feminine, like a girl. And I'd always try to get away from that. You know, acting like a girl. I'm like, no. Oh my gosh, I need to be more manly. Do you know what I mean? Let me copy my friend right now. Like, how's he standing? How do men stand? Like, it was so small, but yet so big for me.
Yeah.
You know, like even the pose. Like, of course, I've looked at men how they pose.
Yeah.
That's why I pose like that. You know. But yeah.
I wanted to ask you, and I was thinking that this would be like one of my later questions, but I feel like to ask you now. When you see people who are maybe campaigning for transgender rights, and you see people like Nicola Sturgeon, it pretty much her career was thrown away because of what she was trying to do with the certificates and try and make it even easier for people to transition and things of that nature. And even people themselves who are going through the process. Do you have like empathy, what's the level of empathy you have for them? Because obviously you felt it, do you know what I'm saying? And everybody else, we're just kind of looking at it, and we may have thoughts that range from, oh, this is insane, to, okay, I sympathize, but we haven't experienced it, do you know what I'm saying? Even though I know you're fully convicted that you're living in God's purpose now, what does it look like when you're reflecting and looking at them in the process that you were over 5 years ago?
Compassion. And I think compassion because I've been through it. It's like, I think about Jesus. Like, he was constantly a perfect man, fully human, fully God. Every day around sinners. You know, and I'm like, there's a scripture that says he looked on them, the harassed and the helpless, and he had compassion on them. You know, I'm always inspired by how Jesus sees us, because he doesn't see us as our sin. He sees us as his children, you know, and that helps my heart. Because it's easy for us to be like, oh my gosh, that person's an abomination. Like, that person, you're going straight to hell. That's what I heard back in the day. You know, like, being in a Jamaican household, you're constantly being condemned if you ain't doing right by your parents. You know, you're called all sorts of names, derogatively, and all of this stuff. And it's like, man, what they showed me wasn't the love of God. It showed me the wrath, though. But rightly so. Sometimes we need to see the wrath, so we have the fear of God. But when I started studying the Bible, that's when I was shown the love of God. And I think that's what everyone needs to see. Especially, I'm not singling them out because they're better than anyone, but just from my experience, when you think about the LGBT community, the strap line is love is love. So what are they lacking? Love. And so this is what they need to see. They need to see a demonstration of God's love. Not, you're going to hell because you decided to cut your breasts off. No, God still loves you. God loves you so much. To the core of you, you don't even know it. Because we have a skewed perspective of love and a skewed perspective of God because of what we've gone through. So it's coming from a place of understanding and compassion and patience, and, you know, like, yes, this person may need to go through what they're going through now, with the hopes that they'll come out on the other end and be able to see and accept God's love for them in their lives.
Is there and I'm saying this respectfully, but a slight bit of contradiction there, because if you're a trans person and that is not of God, in that sense, how can that person become closer to God and be under God's love if what you're saying they are is not of God? How
Hear that.
what's the resolution there? The email.
Yeah, no, you made a good point. So, what I'm saying is, okay, God loves them, right? Like God loves each and every one of us. So He loves the sinner, but not the sin. And so that's where we're going to separate. So, all right, think about you being in a relationship. You're going to have your red flags and you're going to have your green flags. Your red flags are your boundaries. This is unacceptable. We don't cheat in this relationship. You need to be fully committed to me, right? Vice versa. And so green flags like, you know what, I really appreciate quality times or acts of service or whatever the case may be. And so it's the same thing with God, right? God is like, these are my boundaries. These are red flags. You know, and the reason why they're red flags is because I'm trying to protect you. There's something I'm trying to protect you from. I love you, but I don't love what you're doing. It's the same thing with our parents. Like, our parents go to extent of protecting us because they know what's good for us. You know, you wouldn't try and... I know for my mom, she was like, you ain't going out at nighttime. Why? I don't want to go out at nighttime. I mean, I want to go out at nighttime. Like, why are you stopping me? She knows what could happen to me possibly. And so she's trying to protect me from the harm that could damage me for life. You know, because she's thinking, obviously, worst case scenario, like anything could happen. And it's the same thing. God is a protective father. And so He's going to say no to things that He knows that's going to harm you in the future. You know, His word does say, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, right? To give you hope and a future. And so if God's plan is to prosper you and not harm you, He's going to stop you from doing the things that will harm you. Or stop, you know what I mean? He's going to protect you from those things. And that's what that is. And that's what it means to love.
So does that apply to a transgender person basically would have to change themselves in order to be fully loved by God, right? To remove are you saying that transgenderism is a sin? Are you saying homosexuality is a sin? That's what I'm guessing, because if you're saying God doesn't love the sin, what part of that is the sin part? I guess that's what I'm trying to understand, because I fundamentally don't agree with that, if that's what you're saying. Like, I can definitely appreciate your story and what you've been through and empathize 100%, but I don't think homosexuality is a sin, and I don't think transgenderism is a sin either. So I don't want to have this conversation and be agreeing with things, and like, if that's what you're saying. But yeah, please do clarify.
Yeah, no, keep it real.
Yeah.
May I ask what is it that stops you from believing, shall I say, that it's a sin?
Because I just feel like I said at the top of the conversation, I'm not particularly religious in general anyway. I understand why people are, and I appreciate the frameworks it puts out to help you live a good life and be a decent person and love others and everything like that. But like, I just think there are many people who are gay, and they're born that way, and that is not their fault. That is not because of Satan, in my opinion. It is not a sin, in my opinion. It's just the way they are, and I feel like they should also be loved unconditionally. But I do understand, like, two opinions can exist. They can coexist. Like, do you know what I mean? But yeah.
No, I was just going to say, but I think there's more in common in what you're saying, though, because you're basically saying regardless, God loves the individual. Do you know what I'm saying? The gender, even if you want to render that a sin or not, the individual, God loves unconditionally.
Yes.
No, there's no hierarchy.
But I feel like that layer, that is a very particular layer, because it also comes into what you were saying about your own journey,
Mm.
that you felt like, or you can correct me obviously, like you felt like you couldn't be close in a Christianity sense because there was a barrier there, right? Or when you were transgender, I'm talking about.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had to shed all of this
Yeah.
to now become like a fully fledged Christian, basically.
So I had to go back to basics. I had to be authentic, because when you really look at my story, I wasn't being authentic. I was lying, like what you said, to myself, and I was lying to other people. And how can one continue to live in a lie when you know what you were born as? Like I said, that your biological makeup shows that, it's evident. It's that something I can't run away from or hide, And so, meeting God, obviously, the Bible says that we are God's masterpiece, and when you translate, and handiwork as well. When you translate that word, actually, in its Greek form, it means that we are His poetry, right? We are His spoken word, and so God is obviously rewriting a story for us. But in order for that to be written, there is a lot of shedding of skin that we have to do. It's just like when we're going to therapy, we're going to seek healing in a way, or we're trying to we're trying to come to a conclusion about what's happened. We're trying to accept, we're trying to forgive, we're trying to move forward. But I couldn't do any of that without first coming face to face with who God created me to be, which is a masterpiece. Because oftentimes when we change ourselves, it's because there's a lot of insecurities. It's because there's a part of ourselves that we hate, or we don't like, or we don't feel comfortable with. And God is like, but I created you. You are beautiful as you are. And it's accepting God's view of me and not man's view of me, which is skewed. Do you know what I mean? My view of me is skewed. I can sit here and be like, I'm too black, because I've been bullied. I've been told I'm too black. And now it's only recently that I'm coming to the realization that it's melanin is pain. Are you mad? Do you know what I mean? But I've had to accept that part of me when someone else told me that it's not acceptable. And so it's all these different changes that we make to ourselves is simply because there is insecurity that comes from somewhere that needs to be dealt with. Because can I accept myself without makeup? 100%, 100. Now, yeah, I can. I can, because my identity doesn't depend on makeup. It's rooted in somewhere that cannot be shaken or taken away. It's the same thing. Like I've made all these alterations to my body, but my body is suffering the consequences now. Having a hysterectomy, I suffer daily because of that. But I chose to do it though. Do you know what I mean? Yes, of course, what I was doing would have made it cancerous and stuff, and I was like, this is a logical decision. But now I didn't realize, and no one ever told me what I would be suffering later on. No one ever told me that I'd be menopausal at 35 years old. Constantly, hot flashes, No one ever told me that I would even have this yearning or desire to have a child. Like, you know how deep that desire for me is now? Like, I want children. 100, I can adopt. That's different. There's nothing like having your own, I can't have a generation of children not anymore. You know what I mean? And so all these things that I've decided to do have had detrimental effects on me later on that I didn't know that would. I'll give you a little bit of an insight. So yes, one thing, getting baptized and accepting, and obviously walking with God. But then there was another thing, detransitioning. The psychosis, that was happening on a daily basis, not being able to distinguish reality from illusions, right? Again, even just feeling like a misplacement in society, because now my face is changing again, and I've built up all this persona, all this status, thinking and wondering what people are going to think of me. Like, I'm a young Christian and I'm going through this. My muscles are weakening to the point where my bones are deteriorating, right? It can break in any minute because of osteoporosis, right? And so I'm going through all of this and all of these shiftings and all this change. Imagine going without hormones for 6 months in your body. We cannot survive without hormones in our body, be it testosterone or estrogen. We can't. And so even right now, having to wear a patch that provides estrogen so that I can actually walk. That's deep. Do you know what I mean?
What now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Is that for the rest of your life?
For the rest of my life.
Okay.
You know, having marks all around my body because of the patches, like, because of choices and, you know, decisions I've made in the past. No one talks about
I
that
do
stuff,
feel a
you know
lot
what
of
I mean?
people failed you though.
I was literally about to ask.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you, because I know you went through the NHS and stuff, and it feels like everything happened quite quickly. Do you feel like you were given the right level of care, or like even, yeah, like the right level of care to process like the extent of what would happen? So like you said, no one ever told you that like you'd be dealing with the stuff that you're dealing with now and stuff like that. Do you feel like you were really kind of given the full like long-term picture of what all the choices you made would, like, the effect that would have on you long-term?
So there was a lot of care that was given in the beginning for my transition. So they were like, you know, we can walk you through this, but do you want this? You know, so I appreciated that about my therapist at the time. But when it came to detransitioning, all they said to me was, oh, we can't do anything much because we don't really come across cases like this. And I was like, what? What do you mean? We can give you can have like estrogen, like maybe speech therapy, but that was it. In my head, I was expecting way more therapy. And they were like, no, we can't do that. You know, and so it's interesting because it's like, I didn't have anyone but God and like the community that God placed around me at the time to help me through this, who didn't even know about transitioning. You know what I mean? But they did their best to help me spiritually. And so I feel like if I didn't have that, and I didn't have God, I don't know what I would have done. But I did obviously start therapy in a different way.
Do you think, and maybe this is, I don't even know if you can answer this, but do you think had you not found Christianity at that point in time, do you think you would have detransitioned?
If I didn't have Christianity, did you
Yeah,
say?
because it seems like it's like quite a big factor, and for you, definitely, it's worked out for the better, right? You feel at ease within yourself, at peace, and that type of thing, and everything, which is a beautiful thing. But do you think had you not found that you would have detransitioned, or do you think it would have been later on down the line, maybe? Or
I mean, I was the very person who sat down and said, you will never find me in Christianity. I was like adamant. I was like, I'm gonna die as Stefan. That's how my mindset was. And so it was totally. I don't want to say Christianity because even the politics behind that word, just like, you know. But my relationship with God changed me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like it was seeing what God had done for me and how much He had been there for me that changed my perspective. It was literally just a renewal of the mind and a transformation of the heart. And so, yeah, because remember, it wasn't, though I was studying the Bible, it was me and God having conversations. You know, it was, God, show me that I can be trans and worship you. You know, Lord, I don't care if I never look like a woman again. I still want to worship you. As you can see, there was a progressive development in my relationship with God over the course of a few months. And so, if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't have detransitioned because that my mind was set on being a man for the rest of my life. You know.
Do you know anybody who have detransitioned who aren't Christians or aren't religious at all?
Yeah. I know a lot of people who are now detransitioning for the Lord.
Meh.
Yeah, a lot.
Like he's saying that are not Christian, so maybe they
Oh,
detransition
okay.
for another reason.
Yeah.
No, actually, I haven't. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't people. There was people detransitioning without God. I do believe that happens, 100%.
Where's that belief coming from?
Yeah, In fact, tell a lie. Yeah, I've come across a few people who have detransitioned without God, or not for the religious purposes, for example,
Yeah.
who talk mainly about the implications of transitioning.
Mm.
So yeah, I do know a few, not personally, but online. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, Brent, if you don't mind, again, if you can play the video, because obviously it's stuck on that screen, but I do want people to see
It's not
the actual-
stuck.
You know what I'm trying to say, yeah. But I do want people to see basically the process and how and where you are today in it.
Yeah.
Because obviously you're talking about the whole detransitioning process, and at the risk of someone saying I might have an agenda, I don't, but I do think it's important, and I think you've done it anyway, right? In letting people know how serious the decision is because of the implications. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was watching that video of you explaining, like the side effects, the removal of the womb, not being able to have kids, that broke my heart, man. You know,
That was heavy, man.
I'm telling you, completely. Because I just thought like, and are people being made aware of this, or are they just? And even if they are being aware of this, how does somebody in that moment have the mental capacity to make that decision? Because when you were there, you were saying to yourself, "I'm gonna die, Stefan. I don't need it." Do you get what I'm saying? So,
Obviously, I'm not a woman in it, right? So I don't know how it feels to get the tingles of wanting a baby. You know what women say, they're broody and this and that.
Yeah.
I know what that feels like, right? But just imagine that this is what is still with you, even though you've removed that possibility. That psychosis must be different.
I'm telling you. You already know somebody who likes to have like loads of kids, right? I've always said to myself,
Ho, ho, ho.
imagine that now, being in that situation. And like you said, it's different for a woman, I think, anyway. And just knowing that these decisions were made, you know what I'm saying? And this is why, it was one of the many reasons why I think you're so strong. Because you give so much praise to God and understand that God has given you purpose. So that, like you said in one of your videos, you can have spiritual children and you can also influence other people to maybe not make certain decisions, or at least be aware. You're not trying to condemn people, you're just being compassionate and letting people know before you make these decisions. I've been there before. Do you get what I'm saying? And this is what it's like. And this is why I wanted Brent to show the video, just so people get a glimpse.
And I also love the fact that you said that this strength is coming from obviously who you place your faith in, right? It is not on you, because without whoever you place your faith in, you wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
All right, let's play this video. Right, the choice of music.
Social media, innit?
Whoa.
It reminds me of Ashton Hall.
Lot of sirens, bro.
And I think the other
repeated
video,
it?
yeah, I think the other video is somewhat similar,
Okay.
but basically gives a, yeah, is that the other video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Put it.
And it's so understandable why somebody would think, nah, you was always a man. Do you know what I'm saying? Because, yeah.
There's no music on this one, right?
I'm not too sure. I don't think so.
No, there's no
Maybe
music
not.
on this
But yeah, this is where you are today. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, thank God for your life, man, because I think you're doing an amazing work today. You know what I'm saying? Really inspiring people, making people aware of certain things. Because again, there's so many things that happen in the media, and we are like miles away from it. We think we know. We have judgments, but we're miles away. You know what I'm saying? But you've been there, been amongst it. Do you know what I'm saying? And you've come out, and God's given you a new lease on life to really wanna, you know what I mean? To pursue and give your life meaning. Because that's everything, man. Like you said earlier, near the beginning of the interview, you were talking about examining your life every day. I can't remember who said it, but someone said the unexamined life is not worth living. You know what I'm saying? So to wake up and have that, do you know what I'm saying? And just keep going is just it's so beautiful, man.
You mentioned that there was the stage where you get the projectile thing.
The
You get the
attachment.
willy. Yeah. But you didn't go through that, right?
I didn't know. I
Okay.
didn't.
What's involved in that? Is it can you choose the size?
So yeah, I can explain the process. So in order to get like a penis engraft, it needs to come from like your forearm or like your thigh or your bum. And what they do is they make a graft out of that, and from there, they close up the vagina, and then they make like the scrotum. But then inside the penis graft, there's an erectile device. So then they connect that with the scrotum, and the scrotum is used to pump that device in order for it to get an erection.
Like a manual. Like a manual thing.
Kind of. So you squeeze the scrotum to basically,
Yeah.
allow the device to erect. But then the problem with that is that yes, you can close up the vagina, but it's not always your pee can even come out of
Wow.
the device.
Wow.
There's times where the rod will slip through the hole
Yeah.
and things like that. These are the horror stories I've heard of. And sometimes it just won't work. Sometimes the penis actually falls off. So imagine being a woman with a closed up vagina and then you got like an device that's falling off you kind of thing that looks like a real penis. And so, I remember being on the NHS waiting list for that because that was the next step. That's what I wanted. I was like, this is the freedom from using straps, for example. And then there was just something whispering, get yourself off that waiting list. Like, remove yourself from that waiting list. And I spoke to one of my friends and he was like, the pain that I'm going through right now, like, I don't even feel my hands anymore. Like, because, when you're taking out a piece of your skin and your flesh, you start losing your sensation because they're going for the place that's most sensitive. So you feel everything when it's wrapped down there. And so he was like, like, I don't feel my hands. Like, it's just painful. Every day it's painful. And then you have to not have one surgery, but 2, 3, and 4 surgeries down there in order to get the full package. And if complications happen, you're in and out of hospital nearly every year. And so I was like, do I want to live my life in and out of hospital for 10 years? Not really. And so I was just like, okay, I'm gonna not do this. I will just satisfy with what I've done, and that's it. But that's basically how that one works. Wouldn't recommend it. Don't try it at home.
So at this point, what would you say to somebody who might be watching this, who's mid transition? Like what would you say to them?
So would you someone who has transitioned and wants to detransition?
Well, to be fair, you might have just corrected me on how I even articulate this. But let's just say somebody's in the middle of, in their mind, they're transitioning and they've accepted and they're saying, oh, you know what, I'm now this new identity. But now they want to have that physically manifested. So they're going through maybe the hysterectomies and all that sort of stuff. What would you say to that person right now? What would you say to, let's just say I had a friend who wanted to do that. What would you say to me? You know what I'm saying?
I would say think about everything that you're doing before you do it. Do your research as well. Don't just look at the results, but look at the implications or the consequences that it can have later on in your life. And ask yourself, is it worth it? Because I think I would have benefited from asking myself, is it worth it? Like I did with the lower surgery.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I'm like, is it worth it going in and out of hospital every 10 years? Like, every year for 10 years? No. I need to live my life, And so, my advice would simply be reflect. Ask yourself, is it worth it? For, like, I went through a moment of pleasure a moment of satisfaction. Not moments, like a moment of it. Because when I look back now, do I want to go back to that state of mind? No. Do I want my womb back? Yes. Do I want children? Absolutely. You know. But all of it makes me so grateful for God. Like, so great. Like, every morning I'm like, God, I am so grateful because you saved me from myself. You saved me from what could have been. Like, when my sister called me that night, or when I called my sister that night, she was crying because I was going to commit suicide and I was losing my mind. That's why I say, is it worth it for you? The state of your mental well-being, your physical well-being, your spiritual well-being. You're not just one person. You're a complex human being. You've got to take into consideration how this will impact not just you also, but the people around you. You know, so, just think deeply, long and hard.
What's your relationship now? What's your relationship like now with your mom and the rest of your family members and all those people who said, I'll never call you Stefan?
I'm glad they did it, you know, I can't lie. I was vexed at the time, you know. But yeah, I remember my niece was like, oh, I ain't calling you Stefan. And she looked at me, I was like, yo, I'm ready to gun you down, you know. But like, yeah, like I'm grateful that they didn't give into that because they was trying to hold on to the right affirmation. You know, they affirmed me correctly, which is I'm Stephanie. I'm Auntie Stephanie to them, not Uncle Stefan. Do you know what I mean? My mom now, though, when I got baptized, because no one knew I was studying the Bible in my family, so they were like, whoa, hang on. My mom was like, I'm my daughter back. And I was like, that's deep.
Yeah.
For her to say, I have my daughter back. Yeah, she's like, I can't believe it. No. So, Steph, you're baptized? You know what I mean? So she was joyful. And I can say that my relationship with my mom is so much more better now than ever before. Like, I can sit down and reason with her. Whereas before, I really couldn't. But yeah, like, and now I can see how amazing my mom's been.
Yeah.
Before I didn't, you know. So yeah, and everyone else was just so shocked. They were like, man, like, we never thought this day would come, can't lie. So yeah, they were joyful. So my relationship with them is much better now than it was ever before.
Good. If I'm not mistaken, like you're dating now as well, right?
I am.
Okay. So what's that?
Come
been
on.
like? You know what I'm saying? Because obviously now, I'm trying to correct my words, whatever. You know, now you would at least say it's a healthy relationship, right? You know what I'm saying? What's that like experiencing that? And how was it being open with that person? Did you share certain things with that person? Did you feel like it was a necessity before you even took one step with that person to share? Or did you wait a particular amount of time? What was the thought process like?
Because I think everything's out there online.
Yeah.
Like, he saw everything before he even made the decision.
Okay.
And I was like, this is amazing. Because for a man to be like, I'm going to accept you as you are, you know, I'm like, but you will never have a child by me. Like, you know, and he's like, it's fine. This guy.
God bless that man.
Big him up, man.
Yeah,
God bless
this
that
guy. I'm like, wow. That's just incredible to me, you know? So yeah, my relationship with him is just, it's invigorating. And he builds me up so much. Like, every single phone call, he never fails to tell me how beautiful I am. And I'm like, even I could be in the dark. And he's like, you're so beautiful. I said, you can't see me? He's like, doesn't matter, your soul is beautiful. And I'm like, wow, you see right through me. That makes me feel vulnerable. I feel vulnerable. But yeah, like, God has blessed me in that area. I never thought I'd ever be with a man.
Yeah.
I didn't really care for one either. As in, I didn't care because I was just like, I'm happy to be abstinent for the rest of my life. Is what it is, you know. But comparing it to the relationships I've been in with men, because I had been with men in my earlier years, I wasn't seen the way that I'm seen by my current partner. You know, then it was all physical.
Yeah.
Like with my partner, he sees everything, you know, like he clearly didn't get with me because of physical. He was like, yeah, when I saw it, I thought he was very nice. He says peng. But he's American trying to say peng, you like. But yeah, like he saw that I was beautiful, and then he got to know my story and got to know me, and he was just like, wow, so moved. But I think what God is teaching me before I even got into the relationship, I had to do again another renewal of the mind, because I was still kind of clinging on to the fact that I'm gay. Yeah. I'm like, but I'm still attracted to women though.
Yeah.
Like, I can't shift that feeling because I need to make sure you guys understand this. So attraction is not the sin. So me being attracted to a woman is not the sin, but it's that action afterwards. It's just like you can lust after another woman's husband. You know, that lust we know is a sin. And so it's what we do afterwards that's what matters. And so, yes, my attractions are there. And I was like, so how can I get into a relationship knowing that I'm attracted to a woman with a man of God? You know, I was just trying to, what does that look like? God took me back to Adam and Eve's story again. And to put it point blank, God is like, I created 2 genders in the beginning, which means there was one sexuality. And that's when I was like, it just blew my mind. I was like, so what are you trying to tell me, God? Like, there's just one sexuality. And I was like, well, man makes up everything else. Do you know what I mean? And this is too deep for me. And so it was that moment where I was like, wow, okay. So the renewal of my mind is reminding me that I am a woman who is attracted to men, and that is who God created me to be. You know, so I accepted that and my new identity in Christ, and then he came along. Yeah. So honestly, like being in a godly relationship, just it's different. It's different. They see so much. Like, yeah, it's healing as well. It's healing me in areas where I never thought I needed extra healing. Because remember, coming from an abusive background, normally I remember praying. I was like, not praying. I wrote down my list of like the man that I want. I was like, he needs to be a roadman or ex-roadman. Like, it needs to be a bit more dominant than me. Because coming from, remember, being in a relationship with a woman or women, I was the dominant one. I took on that role.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, I need someone more dominant than me, so that I don't try and tower over him, or you know what I mean. Like, and God was like, that's not who you need, Steph. Like, you don't need that. And I realized that if I had that, we'd probably tear the house down. You know, I'd be trying to be the man. So God gave me a gentle man. You know, and I say gentle man because he is gentle. Like, there's nothing in me that wants to rise up against him. I'm like, nah, okay, let me just be, you know, cute over here. But like, yeah, so he's so gentle. Like, there's just no, like, even the whole time we've been dating, there's not been any conflict between us. Like, I know conflict is good, but that's just not happened. You
How
know.
long have you been dating for?
Huh?
How long?
Almost a year now.
Okay.
So next month will be a year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
Good.
yeah, man. But
You,
yeah,
and you said he's American, isn't it? So is it?
he's American.
He's based here now, or is it like long distance?
No, he lives in America. So
Okay.
actually, he was born in Singapore.
Okay.
And then he moved to Philippines, from Philippines to America. Yeah.
Okay.
But American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I believe we've had some questions in the chat, but I'm not too sure if you started some of them.
I know this is irrelevant, right? But in my mind, like, men in the black community would be kind of hesitant to look to find you desirable due to their particular, what did you call it, homophobia?
I call it.
What do people like to call it?
Societal outlook.
Yeah, societal outlook.
Yes.
So I'm guessing that your man is not like me.
He's not.
Good. And that's why I said, God bless that man.
No, wait, sorry, he's not
She's
what?
asking you.
Questions. Asking.
Is he black?
Oh no, he's not black.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm in my head, as soon as it is like an ignorant black man hears about your past, or even would have seen your like footage and whatnot, like he wouldn't go into you at all. He wouldn't find it desirable. Doesn't matter if it is you're completely detransitioned, you know.
I've never thought about that. Yeah, I've never really thought about that.
So have you dated black men since you detransitioned?
No, he's been the first
Okay.
boyfriend I've had in like 17 years.
Mm.
Yeah. So, but I've dated black men in the past.
Yeah. Road
Yeah.
men thing.
Yeah. Jamaicans, Africans, like yeah.
Very. And do you still kind of see a woman and you're like, and then
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I can imagine that.
I
Man.
catch myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Fair. Sorry, Manuel.
No, I wanted to ask a question about therapy because I believe you had therapy after the baptism, right? Or around that sort of time as well.
Yes.
Did you actively seek out a particular type of therapist? Did the person have to be a Christian? Did the person have to be a woman? What was your thinking?
Well, to be fair, actually, I did have a therapist that I was seeing here and there
Okay.
before baptism. But when I got baptized, that's when like things shifted in our therapy sessions. And then after her, I had another woman who was my therapist, and that's who helped me to go deep in regards to my abuse. So, yeah, one wasn't a Christian; she was more spiritualist. And the other one, she was a Christian.
All right.
I think if you approach this like so delicately, you haven't looked to chastise anybody going through this. You've spoken about your experience, you've spoken about your particular belief and whatnot. I love how you've handled the questions that Shadi posed to you. For me, like sin doesn't mean anything if it is I'm not religious. Like the concept of sin, it only means something.
Sorry, are you talking? You're talking this to me for what?
So
Why?
you had mentioned that you don't believe that homosexuality is a sin. I think that I think that she was saying what she was saying because she is a Bible-believing Christian, and in that.
Yeah, I understood what she was saying.
I'm not focusing anything on anything other than observation I've basically
Oh,
made.
it's just the cameras on me like you're.
So because I was speaking to you.
Oh, okay, cool. So it was just a bit weird.
Yeah, the concept of sin for me, it means something because I am a Christian.
Okay.
Outside of that, it wouldn't mean anything to me because I'm not bound by any sort of guidelines that says that this particular behavior or characteristic is sinful. That's what I was saying.
Okay, I understood
All right.
at the time.
Sorry, Manu.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So obviously, firstly, I hope you've had a good time in the conversation. Well, good time might be the wrong word, but in terms of like, it's been a good conversation for you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I did want to ask: is there anything? What would you not want people to take away from your story? Phrase it like that.
Well. Not want people to take away. Okay. So yes, I'm dating a white man. Yes, I prayed for a white man. And
Come on.
I don't want people to take away or believe that I'm not or haven't been attracted to black men.
Okay.
I had to think long and hard if there is a fear of black men. There was,
Okay.
but I don't fear black men anymore because I'm healed. So like I know that we're all on a journey of healing, but there are times where we come to a place of I'm healed. You know, so much so I can sit in the same space with one, I can interact with one. You know, like there's nothing that is in my heart that's bitter towards black men, but my preference has always been white. Ask me why, I have no idea. I'll be honest with you. But it doesn't discredit the fact that I'm also attracted to black men, you know? So, yeah, that's one thing that I just want to, for the viewers out there, I love being black. But I always, since being a Christian, I've always been thinking about having a multiracial family.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you kind of dove into that in therapy?
No, actually. This has
Bruh.
been more from my quiet times with God and prayers. Yeah, totally. I've always thought, you know what? I want a Blackanese baby, Chinese baby. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, multiracial family.
Is that something that maybe you're thinking, in the future, I might need to interrogate this idea, why it is, especially after becoming saved? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why is it? Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, I don't want to put words into your mouth, right, or anything to your head, but do you feel as though you are now at a point where every decision you make, to some degree, would have been influenced by something in the past? Do you get what I'm saying?
Did you ever hate the fact that people were talking about how black you were? Did that cause any sort of insecurities that, had you think in certain ways?
That's a really good question. I think that's the last thing that I'd want.
Yeah.
For my decisions to be influenced by other people's opinions, which is why everything that I do, I always make sure it's biblical. Yeah. Even, for example, this podcast, like my specific prayer was like, God, use me as a mouthpiece to share the specifics of my story that people need to hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so praying that prayer has helped me to share only what is necessary and in alignment with what God intends, and so I'll always go back to scriptures is what I'm, again, that self-examination is what I'm doing in alignment with God's word, because there's times where I've strayed far from it. Like my past, I didn't really know God's word to abide by it. But we have a moral compass, though. That's our conscience. We know when something's wrong. We know when something's right. We just know. And so, for me, God is that's the standard that I live by now. Because it's the standard that saved me. Yeah.
That's powerful, man.
We have a couple questions that were asked before.
Yeah, so we had some questions from the chat, and we've got some. Big up Davina from Brom as well. And
Let's go, Davina.
And she says, I have a question. What are her thoughts on the professional process? It seems as though not enough care was given to ensure this was the path she really wanted to take in terms of transitioning. And she also says, you had trauma. Was there enough psychological questioning professionally? It doesn't seem as though it was thorough enough.
I think when we talk about like professionally or professional help, I agree with Davina. In the beginning, there wasn't a lot of help that I received professionally. It was it's almost like people were afraid to tread on this kind of ground. And so I did feel alone in one sense. But then later on, God had already placed in my life a spiritual mentor. And that spiritual mentor helped me spiritually to go through this transition, or detransition, sorry. Aside from that, the professional help was the 2 therapists that I had. The second therapist, she was very good. But I was afraid because more trauma came up. You know, when you're in therapy, like, it's like, oh my days, I didn't even realize or remember that this happened, to the point where I couldn't name. She constantly kept bringing me back to this guy called Tyrone in my past, who abused me day in, day out, like as a child growing up here in England.
Imagine.
Like just beating me in front of people, dragging me into allotments and forcing me to do things that I just didn't want to do as a child. And he's come out of prison. Of course, I'm going to be scared of him. Do you know what I mean? And so she's like, you need to name what he did. I'm like, no, it's just name it. No, name it. We're going back to Tyrone. I'm like, I don't want to talk about Tyrone. Do you know what I mean? And so that was heavy. And to the point where I was like, I don't want it. But I remembered being in my room praying one time about the whole situation with Tyrone, which went on for years. And I just started heaving, crying, because there was so much pain stored here because of what happened with him. You know, and I was like, wow, like I didn't even, again, I'd numbed that. But yet this therapist was able to help me to remember it. And so that was necessary for that time of my life. Now I'm going back into therapy, but this time I'm going into EMDR therapy,
What's that?
which is eye movement therapy. So it's like, it kind of like, it's a therapy that helps you to remember things that have happened to you in the past, like physically. There's so much more to it.
Yeah.
But for example, if someone was always pacing around you, like, what's your eye movements now relating to that incident, and how does it make you feel? And so it's bringing that up and being able to heal in that moment.
Retrain it in a way. Or,
Retraining,
okay.
yeah, retraining. So I'm going to be starting that in January. So yeah, obviously this season of my life now, just to answer your question, Davina, I am going deeper with the Bible, deeper with professional help as well, because I've not arrived yet, you know. There's still so much more healing that I need.
I love that you're committed to that as well, kind of thing, because it's like there's so many different aspects of what you've been through. Even like watching some of the videos, I know we haven't covered, and we probably don't have time to cover everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, it's not a quick fix, right? Do you know what I mean? It's probably going to be a bit of a lifelong working to kind of like, really deal with some of these.
I agree, because again, just going back to my relationship, like even being in this relationship, I have a lot of fear of what if. There's always that ringing the what if he tries to, like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that he's that type of guy to do so, but I'm like, because of what I've gone through, you just never, you know what I mean? Like, am I prepared for this stuff again? And so, I need it. I don't want to bring that into the relationship, you know? Yeah.
So I guess the long distance is working in your favour at the moment. 'Cause it makes you take it like that much more slower, you know?
Yeah, that's
and
true.
actually, you know.
That's why you needed to be gentle, innit?
I hear that.
I wanted to just read out, because you mentioned the EMDR therapy, just so everyone's kind of aware of what it is. Like you mentioned, it's eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing therapy. So it's a trauma-focused psychotherapy, most commonly used for PTSD, childhood abuse or sexual trauma, assault, complex trauma, and anxiety linked to past events. So basically, EMDR helps the brain reprocess traumatic memories that are stuck in the nervous system. So when trauma happens, the brain doesn't fully process the memory. The emotion, fear, shame, or panic stays live, and even years later, the body reacts as if it's still happening. So EMDR helps move those memories from still happening state to this happened and it's done, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Man, honestly, I've said this quite a few times. Like, we've had amazing guests, but honestly, you're right up there, honestly, as one of the best, because you're how candid you are, how honest you are, how vulnerable you've been, how compassionate you've been. Like, it's to be commended, honestly. And I know obviously you'll give all that praise to God, and rightfully so. But just to give you your flowers as well, like, you've done amazing, honestly. And I really pray God will continue to bless you in all that you do, and also just to push you and guide you along that ministry, man, because you're doing amazing work. And hopefully this will get out to people and will edify the people and really just instruct them on how to really navigate this thing that we call life. You know what I'm saying? Veronica, she asks, from your experience living as both a man and a woman, what disadvantages did you notice men face in society? And what advantages do women have in comparison?
That's an incredible question.
Yeah.
I've realized how lonely it is to be a man.
Mm.
And a lot of men I've spoken to speak about this as well. You know, just living as a black man in society. First of all, let's address race. I remember even just sitting next to someone, a woman on the bus actually, who wasn't black. She had her bag down on one seat, and I decided to sit near enough next to her. And immediately she removed her bag. As in, like, just put it here. She just clutched it tight. And I was like, okay, this is how we're rolling, you know? And then there was just something in me like, okay, stay away from, not stay away from women completely, but try and avoid so that they don't, you know, accuse you for anything type thing. And so I would remember walking down the street at nighttime. If I see a woman coming up the same side of me, I would immediately cross the road so that she doesn't feel like threatened, you know, by me. But I know even interacting with other men as a man, like there was a lot of like, oh, I need to hold in my emotions. I can't, I gotta be a man. I gotta, you know what I mean? Like be, So I realized there was not much of that.
Wait, so the pre-transitioning, were you like someone who kind of like spoke express your emotions a lot? Was that, did you have to like literally, oh, actually I can't speak right now because
Yeah, I was someone who I expressed them a lot.
Yeah, okay.
In how I acted and behaved and stuff. I did. But a part of me was trying to suppress those emotions as well. So I was like, testosterone's good for me because now I don't cry. Yeah, it literally was like a suppression of emotion. So when I stopped taking testosterone, it was like everything that was bottled up just came out.
Wait a minute.
Wait. Yeah.
Are we hearing what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I feel like
So we were born this way, yeah? Yeah?
My testosterone levels are too high.
Oh, come on.
so you can't cry because of testosterone.
Yeah, we can't help this.
It's not a choice.
Nah,
It's not a choice.
Yeah, come on.
I knew I wasn't broken.
Yes.
Whatever. Whatever.
I'm awake. I am the living.
Is that a side effect of testosterone for real? Because that just sounds. Because I thought it was more of a societal thing. That why men don't cry.
We're speaking to the expert now. Come on.
It's more difficult to express that kind of emotion.
Really?
Yeah.
Grease.
Yeah.
Have grease on us, man.
Yeah.
Take us.
Saying. Okay. But what about, okay, so, but like, what gets enhanced? And I'm guessing what you said before, like the anger levels is quite intense. Because women feel rage as well, right? But we suppress our rage. We are literally taught, conditioned to suppress our rage at all times, right? Do you know what I mean? So, but with the testosterone, did it feel more, could you decipher whether it was that was making you have these emotions or because you were feeling more male, you felt to express it more? Could you decipher between those two?
It was definitely the testosterone.
Yeah?
Because I could express it before. But the testosterone, it was just difficult to do so.
Okay.
You know, it was like, I want to cry. I know I do, but then I can't. You know what I mean? I can't. I literally try.
I've been saying this for years. Want to, but I just can't.
Like, something mad would need to happen.
Okay. So why are men crying so much now then?
That's what I'm asking.
Like, they're crying all the time on TV.
It's true. It's true. I do believe that it's also it varies though, like you know, based on your environment as well and how you've been raised and all of this kind of stuff, culture. So I agree with you in that sense socially. But yeah, I know for me it just went the other way. Yeah, it went the other way, and I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it because I didn't like being so expressive emotionally.
Yeah.
Because in my head I'm like, oh, that's feminine. It's too girly. Do you know what I mean?
Did you get stronger?
Huh?
Like physically stronger? 'Cause
Oh,
he was like a,
massively.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
that changed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was deadlifting ridiculous weights. Yeah, literally, it was crazy. I was a lot fitter as well. I'm not saying women can't be as fit as men, because the truth is they can.
yeah.
But I gave my heart more to it
Mm-hmm.
at that time. Yeah, it was dense. My muscles were dense, basically. Yeah.
I remember seeing a video. In one of the videos, it's like it's shot like from here upwards, and obviously you're not wearing no top in it, and like you're saying, like you look like you've been in a gym, like banging heavy weights, man. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Literally.
Completely different.
Fluctuated
Yeah,
in
man.
size. I think it's interesting because there's times where, because my body fluctuates so much, I went from looking like a bodybuilder at one point to just someone who's just super athletic, as you say,
Yeah, exactly.
you know.
Yeah.
So I like trying or seeing how different versions of masculinity looked on me according to my physique. Yeah, like at one point I had like a strong V line, my abs, it's just on show, and I was like, this is possible, this is great. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, like that was the help of testosterone as well, I'll be honest. It was the help of testosterone.
What about the facial hair and stuff? Was it like?
That took a while to
Itchy.
come,
Oh, did it? Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
It's coming through. But I had to use this like this thing called minoxidil.
Oh yeah,
You guys-
yeah.
you guys know
yeah,
about
to wear
that.
your eyelashes and
Really?
the people put it on their edges.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the other one? You to grow your eyelashes. The same thing or different thing?
No, minoxidil is more like the edges.
Edges stuff, yeah. When your
Really?
edges get snatched, yeah, people use it.
Then you can't.
No,
Then you can't talk.
fine. You told me to keep the mic, and I said no because when
Oh.
the mic was closed, you were all looking at me like.
Because it was too much noise. Can't we correct you?
Trouble.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, did you not? Oh, okay. But so the testosterone, does it help grow?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I feel like if I was
So
on,
did you shave and stuff? Did you have
Yeah.
to? And you had to learn how to shave?
I had to learn how to shave.
God.
I know. Wild.
crazy.
Not my hair, but like definitely the beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a task. It was a task.
It's interesting.
All right. Unfortunately, we do have to wrap up the conversation. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure
So,
having you join us today. Hopefully you'll come back as well, man. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I
thank you
know
guys for having
London's
me.
quite far. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully you'll come back. You know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, it's been an amazing conversation. You're an amazing person as well. I'm super inspired by you, honestly. You know what I'm saying? And I'm so proud that there's somebody in our community who cares enough about the community and is actually giving their life to sharing their life. Because there's so many things that obviously we have insecurities about and certain things that we're dealing with. But you've come and you basically just laid everything bare. You know what I'm saying? And so I applaud you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, in a crazy way. So, again, thank you so much for joining us. You're a legend. You know what I'm saying? And, yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, man.
Yeah, man.